Okay, so it's kind of okay. Here we go. Celebration time.
Yes.
Celebration. I would start with music, but then they will shut me down because I can't
Then
play.
you'll shut us down. Yeah,
Right. So
totally.
I am going to go ahead and share a presentation because why not? Let's just push all the barrels here. Let's see if we can just make it make it crazy here. And this is so funny because um today actually is just a gimme. Okay. It's literally just Nicole and I were talking. Continue to share while using share play. Continue to share this PowerPoint window using, okay, we're going to say yes. Okay, so Nicole and I were talking. We had such a good time when we did the other one. And so we decided we would just continue to do this. Like, we got together. Here's a little backstory. I basically wrote this like once upon a time, two women met and we had common values and experiences. And we decided that doing what we do, that we would like to support other women to know how they can have a more full, rich, enjoyable, loving life. I'm Kim Benjamin, in case you don't know. And this is my dear friend, I say, and co-partner in emotional healing, Nicole Kaufman. Um,
Hello.
like I said, we decided that we wanted to do something and to share what was possible. And I'd had this little thing cooking up in my mind about a membership program. I've been doing memberships for about 5 years now, but I really wanted to do something that was different, very, very different. And so I made this suggestion to Nicole and she said, yes, I'm in. And we were like, wow, this is so exciting. And so it kind of grew from there. That's where the Alchemy Room was born. And today, we aren't even really here to actually talk about the Alchemy Room. We came and did a Facebook Live and kind of introduced it. And we decided that we wanted to come back. And based on a lot of the information that we got from people, we had questions. And getting together, we decided that we really wanted to hammer out something different, something that would work for all women. So our concept is to bring our joint experiences, our professional, personal, all the things that we've done together. And based on some of the questions that we got, we wanted to make it a program that anyone could join that would fit all the needs. Because that was always the concept of the Alchemy Room, that this was a place for every woman, but it's not a box for every woman to fit into. And so in creating that, we kind of went back to the drawing board. I'll just speak for myself here. So while we're adding out all the details, I just said, hey, Nicole, how do you feel about doing some more lives? Because we had a really good time. And so today we are going to talk about something, and it's not a lesson. We're actually just here to have fun. And today I'm actually calling this more of like an activation. It's really whatever touches you. It's whatever resonates with you. Um, we're not here to basically tell you the all ins and all outs of everything that's going on, but we're going to talk about passion. Um, and I'm going to share some of the things from an energetic standpoint using human design. And Nicole is going to share her vast, amazing wisdom, her multiple degrees from a psychological perspective. And we're going to talk about like what happens in your nervous system, like what passion is and what happens to it.
Hey,
So
before we go too much further, because we have new people here this time,
yeah.
tell them who you are and what you do, because like they may not know like why like what you've been doing all this time, and it we've got to bear witness to that for like 5 seconds.
I
So
love this. I love
yeah,
it. Thank you so
let's
much.
go back and just reintroduce yourself, just in case somebody doesn't know who you are, because if they weren't here last time, then they might not.
I missed all that grandiose introduction. Well, if you joined early when we were having technical challenges, you've got a lot of insight into who I am, actually.
Right.
Um, but I'm Kim Benjamin. I am a relationship coach. I work with high achieving, I like to call them overachieving women, actually. And I call myself an emotional intelligence coach because my primary focus in life, I've been doing this for like 10 years now. And my focus in life is to support women to see how our emotions drive us. Like we think we're being logical, we think we're being rational. And we're always addressing, like, our mindset and things. And all of that is so, so important. And what I do is I support you through using human design through a self-awareness tool to kind of peel back the layers of areas where you may be a little bit touchier about things that you're not even aware of. So it allows you to kind of see how your energy works best and how it flows best and things that might trigger you. So I've been doing this for a minute. I split my time between the US and France. I have a beautiful life, but I have a been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, bought out the souvenir store. And that is really what drives me, honestly. That is my passion and purpose in life, is because I have been there. I have done that. And it's something that I want to share with other women so that maybe they don't have to go there and buy the t-shirt. They could take the shortcut.
Yay, love that. Okay, cool. All right. I'm just gonna jump in here. I am Nicole Kaufman. I am founder, owner of High Performance Counseling. I am a clinical mental health counselor. I went and got the degree and do counseling for goal directed, action oriented individuals who need to level up, who need to get out of their own way. We can chat GPT and Google our way into diagnosis, no problem. Believe me, I've done it. And so, what about for that woman who needs that, okay, more of a meta, type of level up? I've been doing this for about 10 years myself. Lots of professions before this one, before deciding to go back to grad school and land on this. So I have a soft spot for entrepreneurs and savants, and I get lots of dancers and artists and sports people, all kind of high achievers in my practice, as well as business owners and just a lot of super cool women. So of course I was attracted to what Kim is doing, like a daggone tractor beam. I was just like, you are my people, right? And so we have been friends all of these years and have talked about collaborating, talked about getting together, because we were so pretty much aligned on, how we felt
Yeah.
about people being able to harness their challenges and being able to take it to the next level. So this was our year to do it. We didn't know it, but this was our year to do it. And we're going in with both feet. So we're just happy everybody's here to join us. Yay. Okay. All good. All good. Good.
I love that. You gave me so many points that I wanted to just totally riff on. But yes, we've known each other for 7 years and we have talked about this for 7 years. And so we lovingly say, like, Nicole brings the science and I bring the woo-woo. And it's a beautiful combination. She compared us to actually kind of a Reese cup, peanut butter and chocolate. And that is kind of what we do. We bring all the elements of all the aspects for women that have tried it, that have done it, and it works, and then it just doesn't stick. And so we wanted to cover all the bases. So thank you for that pause. I have everything that we talked about last week, like our last time. I have a
Mhm.
recap of that. We hit on the three big soul sucking, I call them soul sucking topics that leave us deflated and disconnected. We talked about perfectionism, we talked about people pleasing, and we talked about like losing our purpose, because when all of those things are out of alignment, we just have a tendency to just, kind of autopilot through life. And the truth is that the reason we talk, like, I love it, savants and entrepreneurs, and I call them overachieving women. The reason for this is because everything in your life can look really good on the outside, and it can look to the world like you're making hay while the sun shines and everything is lovely. And inside there's something that's deeply missing. There are things that you're doing that are impacting your life. And what I've discovered is that comes back to how we feel about ourselves. And unfortunately, how we feel about ourselves usually rest on whether we feel loved or not, and whether we feel worthy of loving. And so today, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about passion. So get ready for understanding passion. And I did this on purpose. Nicole, hot seat, because you shine at it.
Ah, well, thank you. Right. All right. So the spotlight is on me.
It's on you, girlfriend.
Okay. Well, and so passion comes in a lot of forms, right? We can talk about passion in terms of our career or our zest or zeal for life. We can talk about it in a relational standpoint, passion for our work or passion for our life's purpose. Um, I like talking about passion as erotic aliveness, a la Esther Perel, who is the therapist du jour in the space for relationships. Um, you know, she wrote a great book. If you haven't read it, Mating in Captivity. Um, she wants you to be able to express passion in your own red light district. That's what she calls it. And passion as play, passion as fun. And passion is energy, risk, being able to be creative. So you know that you're expressing passion when you're able to be creative, right? When you're able to detach to the how, when you're able to detach from the outcome, you're truly in the moment, right? And you know, passion needs space, she says. So mystery and space. So the way that she says that, just in a nutshell, passion or attraction is created when we are apart from in our partner, for instance, when he goes away for a trip, or when she is across the room holding court and talking. Um, that kind of pulls our passion or pulls on our attraction towards that person. So you know, not to go down, and we can go down that rabbit hole. I love talking about that, but the passion in life, it's really about how you engage with the world. As it says on the slide, art, ambition, adventure, and risk. I have had my own business in some form or fashion for 20, probably 30, almost years now. And that's the risk part, right? Is just the risk of putting it out there and let's see what happens. And during times of change, or during times of pivoting, is what I like to call it, in your life, you can rediscover kind of what drives you. I have a client right now who is in the midst of kind of burnout in her job, and she's trying to pivot, and she's trying to figure out, okay, what's next for me? So there's the disruption. And therein, right, it's the quintessential metaphor with the butterfly, right? Is during that cocooning is when that transformation is taking place. So dynamic, erotic energy rooted in mystery and autonomy. And she uses the word erotic in a lot of areas, not the, X-rated type way exactly, but erotic is in, very raw and carnal, which, I totally love. Um, and it is emotional vitality that goes beyond physical intimacy. It really gets to the essence, I think, of who we are as human beings, right? And when you feel free, when you feel curious, when there is no attachment to outcome, the unpredictability, that's when your passion can really be flexed, right? So that's what we're trying to get ourselves in. And nobody's responsible for like inciting the passion in us. That's an inside us kind of head game. So how do we get there? How do I and Kim and I, we can help you realize that about yourself and kind of bring that about yourself. All right. So that's kind of what we're after. And in how I'm looking at it, especially from, a clinical therapy, psychological perspective, for instance.
I love that. There were so many things, and I love the fact that that Esther Perel talks about it as eroticism. And I want to offer you something. So, the very first time that Christian showed my picture to his mother, her comment was, "She's very sensual." And when I went back and I told my sister this, who speaks French, I said, "That's the most bizarre thing I've ever heard for someone's mother to say about an image." And my sister's like, "No, you have to understand the French culture. Sensual doesn't mean sexual. Sensual means attractive. Sensual means vibrant. Sensual means alive. Like it's something in you that has discovered a light that maybe you thought was dead." And that comes about, I totally agree with this. It comes about rediscovering what you're excited about. And I love the fact that she said something in times of disruption or personal transformation. And I love, Nicole, that you say pivot, because how many of us here think that when we change direction, we see it as a failure? I did for the longest time. Like when I give a list of all the businesses that I've had, and I'm the same way, I've had my own business for 30 something years or longer, well, longer. When I give a list of all of that in my head, I'm going, oh, well, I didn't stick with that. And I didn't stick with that. And so it's like, instead of seeing it as, no, my passion changed. No, I reconnected to myself. Maybe I was in a situation where everything was dying. And instead of seeing that with like the vibrancy that it is, anytime we come back to life, and we find something that we're passionate about, that wakes us up, that energizes us, that gives us a goal, an intention, something to work toward. That's passion. And creativity without outcome. That's what we talked about last time, was about perfectionism. So now this is where like I bring, and I'm not going to read my whole slide, but I bring in, I will happily share the slide with you guys. But this is where I really use human design to kind of give some feedback into how different energy types work, because we all have different energetic levels. In human design, there's actually 5 different energy types. And depending on which one you are, some of us may respond to like consistency. We need to know how things are. They need to be structured. And that actually can light us up and make us passionate when we have a safe structure that we can depend on. But the different energy types have a different response. And that's kind of what we do in the alchemy room, is we kind of look at you as an individual, and we want to work a system around you that like Nicole says, that we can see what it is that would pull you out. We can see what's in there. And so we can support you with programs and systems that do that. Passion is going to be experienced differently by different energy types. And it has a lot to do with defined and undefined centers and even channels. And it basically is just an opportunity for you to kind of look at it and go, see what resonates. Yeah, that does sound like me. Wow. Okay. I understand now why I'm triggered about that. I understand why I've shut down. Because then that brings us to a topic. What happens when passion doesn't feel safe? And it doesn't have to be an abusive situation to shut down your passion. Would you agree, Nicole?
Absolutely, absolutely. And human design for me, I'm learning more and more about it too myself. Human design being yet another tool we can use that really increases mind body awareness, right? And understanding where our fears are coming from, where our disconnect or dysregulation is coming from. And that's why I love and Kim knows this stuff backwards and forwards. I'm still like, it's like a train. I'm like, I'm trying to catch.
Well, yeah, yeah, that's kind of like me trying to catch up with you with all the theories right. It's kind of the equivalent.
So, yeah, we're kind of doing, this mind meld, if you will, of kind of both, right? And, we can look at all sorts of like, okay, the psychological reasons that you shut down, or maybe it's a past story that you were telling yourself, or a really unevolved coping mechanism from the past that you've now carried into adulthood that is contributing to a sense of not feeling safe, or of just doing what playing small. Let's just say that playing small, not putting yourself out there, right?
Mhm.
And so, we can kind of blend these things together in a way that, determines, all right, how can we get ourselves, again, it's an inside job, out of that not feeling safe to, the safe space. The other type of, I like personality assessments too. So,
Mhm.
getting an idea of your sense of agreeableness and things like that can also inform us as to where we are, in terms of giving our trust and trusting implicitly, that sort of thing. So, um, here we go. Then there's the whole shame and trauma, discussion. Huge presentations, almost all to themselves, but that also informs our ability to feel safe or not safe, right?
Mhm. You said that so perfectly. So human design focuses on the inner wisdom of the body.
Mhm.
And that's why it's such, I feel like such a beautiful marriage to all of the work that you do, because eh, tapping into your body and how your body's feeling brings an awareness to, okay, we may not even be aware of the fact that we don't feel safe. Unless, and that's why I said it doesn't have to be an abusive relationship. It can be in a situation where you feel like you're constantly shut down, constantly not heard. And so you numb out and you don't really understand why. And you don't even know that that's going on. And so what we do is we connect that. So I support you to kind of ask you like how your body's feeling. Where are you feeling it? And offer some suggestions or some opportunities based on your chart to go, okay, well, let's take a look at this. Does this resonate with you? Does this resonate with you? And then that gives us an opportunity, once we know where we are, to decide how we can use all of the tools together. So if you grew up feeling like, you good girls don't, if you were punished for being passionate, if you were punished for being creative, if you were creative and yet it was all outcome based, if you were shamed, even unconsciously. I think one of the greatest stories I ever heard, it was one of my trainers in leadership. She said her parents took her to kindergarten for the first day and she didn't know what was happening. She was 5 years old and they dropped her off at the front door and they're waving and they bought her a new dress and they're waving and smiling and saying, have a good day, have a good day. And they're crying. And she's like, I didn't know what was happening. All I knew is they were taking me out of a safe environment and putting me in a scary environment. And they seemed happy to see me go. So there are all kinds of things like that that we don't even register, that we're not capable of registering as children. And so that stays somewhere in your body. And all it takes is something to trigger that as an adult. And it can totally shut down things that you're passionate about. So
I
that
want to,
is,
I want to, oh, sorry.
yeah,
Go
no, no, no,
ahead.
go ahead.
So I wanted to jump in real quick. Amy said in the chat, thank you for sharing, Amy. She says, in the middle of it, disruption, failure as an independent woman, and it totally has stifled my creativity. So I've got some inside baseball here. So my friend Amy is a published recording artist. She has
Wow.
a single that was recently currently released. So she says she's been accused of having obsessive composing disorder.
Oh,
um, yeah, right. And she says all seems to compound into negative energy. And given, where she is in her life right now, she says, my passion doesn't feel safe in my current situation. So that it's really
wow.
interesting how this concept registers with your more creative types. And that's exactly what Miss Amy is. So just thought I'd throw that in there as a perspective, right? Passion for me, not a creative type, is a checkbox, got to get it done. It's all about being productive, right? And then, if we don't know enough about it, let's research it and do a project and maybe a diorama or something, make
I know.
something, make
Okay.
something out of it.
See, okay, I love this. Number one, Amy, thank you so much for sharing that. And I really want you to drop the name of your single in our chat and I will share it with everyone. I would love to listen to it. I'd love to hear your music. I would absolutely love that. So share it with us. And this is such a beautiful example of like human design. So I'm going to have to argue with Nicole. She says she's not creative. She is creative. in a way that she doesn't paint pictures, she doesn't make records. Maybe she doesn't have any dance videos out there. I don't know. But she's highly creative in understanding human beings. Like, see, creativity goes in so many directions. And here's a perfect example. So Nicole is a manifesting generator. She's multifaceted, multidimensional, and she can multitask. You see, I see that little light up there that says chat, and I haven't even clicked on it because that is beyond my scope of ability. Because if I click on that, I will start reading the chat and I'll be sitting here like this going, okay, yeah, okay. And I will forget what I'm doing. So these are like some of the different ways that like energy types work. And I'm sorry, love, I find you highly creative.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Uh, but yeah, you're right. Once we can connect to what we are feeling, then we have a way forward. So even if it's, you don't have to, I'm guilty of making people do, right? So I'm like, okay, you have to do something now. You must do. And what my teachers used to tell me, was slow down, right? Slow down, stop pushing your people so hard, right? And the good news is that I have, it's, all of these things to be able to observe in yourself,
Mhm.
right? And then be able to form a course of action. And that's what we're going to provide the space for, right? You and me, girlfriend, in this, in the alchemy room, is to be able to realize all the observations and then do something, right? Then put a plan together and then execute, rather than go, pick it up as you go, catch the train while you're running type of transformation.
Right. And I would actually want to disagree with like the people who told you to slow down, because as a manifesting generator, you have a lot of energy that gets to be, that is about doing, that is about going, that is
Mhm.
about action. So it's very natural for you to do that. And chances are like your clients, your patients really needed that extra and probably fed off of your energy and probably went and found their passion. But yes, that is the objective, is to understand. I'm a manifester. I mean, Joanna here is a manifester, and we both need like we're supposed to be going about 20% of the time. We're supposed to rest 80%, which sounds really unbalanced. Except in that 20%, I can usually get done what 10 people can do. But when I don't honor the rest period, Nicole's saying, yeah, she's been sending me emails like, what are you doing? When I don't honor that, but see, that's what I'm passionate, because I'm passionate about this group. I'm passionate about this membership. I'm passionate about the opportunities. And before I forget, Amy has put the link in the chat. So you guys go in and copy the link. Okay. I copied it. And Amy, I really just go into the chat and copy the link. I would love for all of us to like hear your single. But the truth is, like, if I don't honor my rest cycle, I can create stuff, and I push myself to do this, to burnout phase, and everything I create is just garbage. But when I'm fired up, I can go through that urge and I can knock it out. And that's passion. That's understanding like what you're passionate about. That is the creativity. That is the autonomy. Um, I don't know if the chat screen is still up, but I copied the link. Thank you, Amy, so much for sharing it, and I hope everyone else will too. So now this is all this. Here you go, girlfriend. This is all you all the time. This is yours.
Of
So
me, okay. Yeah.
yeah, what I did was, and I guess I should explain that. So we talked a lot about how passion is snuffed out, killed, how you lose it, how you can disconnect from it. And like I said, the purpose of today was just to make it fun and just to give you guys something to think about, and for you to have a place to understand that, like, to be seen and to be heard. And so we've listed several things. There are going to be several ways that you can begin to, just little things you can do to tap into, figure out, to heal your nervous system. And I use the word heal kind of loosely, because these are practices you can do that will ground you in the moment, that will give you some peace in the moment. These are not going to heal your nervous system. They are practices. They are things um, that we can incorporate. But I mean, what I'm trying to share is these are just tips. So see what resonates with you. Nicole's going to share and take what jumps out at you. Like if you see something, go, oh yeah, that would feel really good. Like jot that down and just use it as an activation whenever you're feeling anxious, whenever you're feeling that you're being stifled or you're being shut down.
Absolutely. So any therapist worth their salt. Now, some of you may have been in therapy at one time or another. It seems like the first thing that we try to make everybody do who comes through the door is go back to your breathing, right? And we know that when the body registers stress, and that can be subconsciously or consciously, that can be you just see a bush shake in the corner and you think, oh, something's over there, or you get that funny tummy. We call it funny tummy, that feeling in your stomach that something's not right but you're not sure what it is. That the breath is the first thing to go, the first thing to go. So we go back to the breath. The skill is in knowing when to do it and in making yourself do it in the moment. We can all sit here and take deep breaths collectively here on the chat or on this presentation, but it's in only in times of stress or only in times of disconnect that we need to go back to that. We call it grounding. We call it tapping into the vagal system or the vagus nerve. There's all sorts of ways to do it, but it's pretty indisputable at this point that the mind body connection is real and that it can help manage stress when you don't have the words for it, when stress is a feeling, not something you say, right? So then why do we make people talk about their feelings? It's something that you do feel. It's a physical unrest in your body on in some way, shape, or form. So being able to move through the emotions, let the emotions move through you. And here's another thing. I just tangentially, but we love tangents. There's a book that came out recently, Abigail Schreier, called Bad Therapy. And she talks about how, at least in the last 4 to 5 years or so, we've talked about emotions as being permanent, right? Or as being, like unending. So, and what she means by this, you wake up and you're having a bad day, or your coffee tasted like crap, or something happened, or and you're not feeling good at the beginning of the day. Well, we've kind of come to this understanding as a society that you're having a bad week, then, right? Having a bad day, it's going to be a bad day from morning till night. Then you had a bad day yesterday, so you must be having a bad week. We haven't allowed ourselves to be able to move through emotions and let them have bookends, let them finish. And then maybe the afternoon can be okay. Maybe the evening can be great. But to, really envelop and, hone into our emotions like they define us limitlessly, like they define us for the rest of forever. And that's not the case. So I would definitely, if you're a book person like I am, that Bad Therapy is really, really indicative. And the same thing. All right, I'm going to get on my soapbox for a second, but for past incidents, I had a past incident that happened that wasn't awesome. Or I had trauma, or I had sexual abuse, or I had, 2 failed marriages. Hi. That defines you for the rest of forever. Well, I'm just bad at relationship, or maybe I'm just the marrying kind, right? It's all a matter of perspective, right? But
I like that.
all this to say is that by using that mind body connection and getting back at the nervous system for these, little kind of glimmers of disconnecting, glimmers of anxiety, depression, name your, pathology, we can get at that from a very basic body centered modality, and be able to bring ourselves out of it actually pretty quickly if we use the skills. So grounding exercises, and in the alchemy room, I'll take you up and down the buffet line of all the different kinds of stuff that's out there for mind body connection stuff. It's not all about meditation. Meditation is very cool. I struggled with it for 40 years because I have a hard time being quiet. So I had to find other things that worked for mind body connection, where I could talk, where I could do things, where I could move. Meditation is a little too still for me. So we'll definitely explore that. Between Kim and I, she's got a bunch of stuff too. So
I,
yeah, I'm all
yes,
about it.
I love that. I want to interject. So exactly, as a manifesting generator, that would be like tying your hands together and locking you in a closet and telling you to stay there all day. It's not relaxing. It's just your energy is just it's and that the funny tummy that you described. Yes. So in human design, we call that splenic instinct. And there are certain fear gates in your spleen. And so you may discover that you have these fears that you can't define, and you find that they're unreal, unrealistic, unreasonable, all of these things. We have you have different authorities in human design, and an emotional authority actually is designed to go in emotional waves. Like that is just part of your energy. You literally go in waves, and it doesn't matter if it's raining outside. It doesn't matter if you spilled your coffee. You can be in a great place anyway. And so when you learn to understand, like, some of these things are just like, begin to pay attention to your body, begin to become aware of your body and understand how you're reacting to things, because that's something that we really like, especially if you are an emotional energy type and you start to pay attention. Like, there are different types, there are different specific things that like will ratchet it up for you, and there are different things that you can do to soothe it. So knowing all of these things, all of these tools are amazing with like touching on the nervous system. And it really is just about bringing that awareness into, what am I really feeling? My experience is that the thing that women do the best, we're thought of as emotional beings. We're thought of like we're out of control and we're whiny and demanding, but we really don't acknowledge what we're feeling. I feel like fear, other people can't handle it. I'll be seen as needy. I won't do this. And that's where that numbing process comes for shutting down passion. Like, that's where we've like put all of that in a box, and we've labeled it, like Nicole said, as being like all bad. Like, this is going to be all bad. And this is who I am. And so getting back in touch with that, here, even some other tips on creating like micro moments of safety, saying no and meaning it. This is something I work with all my clients on, is like, no is a complete sentence. The insight, and for me, what allows us to say no is when we are in a non-reactional place. If we say no in anger, very often it's not heard. If we say no from a calm place, like we truly mean no, that supports us to trust ourselves, to understand, regulate before
And
you create. This is what you're just talking about.
yeah, exactly. Reacting versus responding, right? And for those of you who have a hard time saying no, that would be me. That can also sound like, that doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for me. It's still
Right.
no, but that doesn't work for me. I like saying that better um, than just no. Um, and you don't have to say it like that. I just kind of no,
Yeah.
and it went
Yeah.
down, a little went down, but yeah, that doesn't work for me. Sounds more like I own it, right? Than just no. And then the reacting versus responding bit, um, that can be a no that comes 2 hours later, right?
Right.
In a measured response versus an initial reaction of, or I need to think about that. I need to think about that. Think about my response. Think about what that might
Yes.
look like, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So
How about that?
there we
Yeah,
go.
giving yourself time. Like, that's exactly what that is. Giving yourself permission to take the time that you need, without an apology, without an explanation. And that comes from a place of confidence when you're feeling like, we feel a pressure. That's another thing in human design. There are pressure centers. And sometimes we feel a pressure to give someone an answer. We feel a pressure to say yes when it's not our time. So reclaiming your voice. Can't be passionate if you're walking on eggshells. Rebuilding trust with yourself. Passion blooms where there's internal trust. So many times women come to me and like they want to talk about boundaries. You, Nicole?
Oh, yeah, everybody likes that word. Yeah, and it's a fun. Here's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to tell them that blah blah.
Right.
Blah. Yes.
Right. Right. But you know what? This was the biggest lesson for me and in my training a long, long time ago. Boundaries are actually created to create connection. And boundaries require an enormous amount of courage because we have to be completely truthful and authentic. This is the line for me. I'm not trying to change you. I'm just saying what I can do or can't do, what I can accept or can't accept, live with or can't live with, or can't live without. And this is what I'm choosing to do for me if X, Y, and Z happens. It's not about, I heard this comedian and she was great. And she was talking about women. She said, do you know women are preemptive? We're like, she says, you're just sitting on the television, you're just sitting on the sofa watching a movie. And she's sitting there thinking, if he does this, I'm going to do this. And we do that. So we get into these mental conversations in my experience where if this happens, I'm gonna, and that's coming from a defensive posture. That is not coming from a place of like what you really want to happen. So that's not a boundary. That's more of a threat or a manipulation. And to get underneath that, to figure out what it is that you're feeling. Why are you feeling afraid? What are you feeling defensive about? What's being taken from you? What is it you feel you're not going to have? And to come back to this place where you go, I'm worthy of that. I get to have fun. I get to have passion. I get to have these things.
Well, and there are hard boundaries, right? Hard
Oh,
boundaries, being treated or spoken to, or dismissiveness. Somebody being late, somebody, there are hard boundaries where you're just like, oh yeah, this is a kind of a deal breaker, right? So there are the hard boundaries, but then there's the boundary around, okay, what do I want my life to look like? What do I, what is the boundary that I'm going to let work or relationship or finances, things of that nature? What do they mean to me? It almost gets to a core values or precepts,
yes.
about what we want our life to look like. But that matters, especially in a society that has told us, well, go to college and get degrees and go to work and you'll get your life's fulfillment. Oh yeah, get married and have some babies somewhere in there and juggle all that because that's so much fun. And do all of that perfectly with your hair done and and
And no
you'll
laugh
be
when you
fine.
stand up, right? No laugh when you stand
Yeah,
up. You remember that old joke? Yeah.
right. Yeah. And so boundaries, with other people, but then boundaries with yourself and your life and what you want it to look like. And I've worked with so many clients on that, being able to break out of, well, I'm in management now, I should love this. And no, you don't.
Mm-mm.
You started the session crying. You don't love it.
Thank you.
So, right. So, that's all right. Nobody gets to pick for you. You get to pick it. You get to pick it. I, you know, I could see 40 clients a week. I would hate my life. I can't. I just don't
Right.
have the bandwidth, right?
Right.
That's any more than I could grow to be like 6 feet tall. I'm a shrimp. I'm less than 5 feet tall. I just can't do it. So, being able to even say what those are for yourself, you know, that's huge to be able to realize and then to be able to carve out your unique footprint of what your life looks like. And that's what we're trying to we're going to try to help you do through these lives, through the alchemy room, through the program that we're creating, all of that. And make it your journey, make it, suddenly, okay, I've been going through all the machinations, been playing the kabuki theater that is independent girl life, and that looks so cool. But now, one, I feel fake. Two, it's not working. And three, well, what would I do different? I don't even flipping know. All right.
Right.
Well, now we
Let's
can chat.
explore that.
Now we can. Yeah.
I love the shake of your head thing. No, that was so
Yeah.
beautiful. Thank you for that distinction. Yes, there are hard boundaries. I mean, I'm not talking about an abusive. There are like things that are completely intolerable, and those are very hard boundaries. And those are still they're still about you. They're about self-trust and self-protection because you do not live in that situation. But I love the fact that you went, yeah, what are your personal boundaries for your life? Because I've worked with people that have been in that situation where it's like, I got what I thought I wanted, but I don't feel what I thought I'd feel. And then they're self-flagellating and judging. And, this is what Nicole and I tell our story all the time, is we've both done so many things in so many different areas. And I said this at the beginning. How do you look at that? Do you look at that? I loved your word. Do you look at that as a pivot? Do you look at that as growth? Do you look at that as realization? Do you look at that as rekindling passion in your life? So in human design, I put up, there are very specific things that, when I run your chart, and we do this for people in the alchemy room, it gives me some insight into some specific questions to ask you about your energy. These are some pretty specific things about interrupting autopilot and particular gates and channels that may be impacting that need to kind of stay in this place. But basically it comes down to following the body's yes. Really, truly, pleasure isn't optional. Really, truly, pleasure isn't optional. Because if you're living in a life of denial and you don't feel like you can have pleasure, you don't feel like it's attainable, you don't feel like you're worthy of it, that is passion. So that is passion. It's like what feels good in your body. So in human design, that's where we kind of start, is in the body. And then I love having Nicole do this because she connects the pieces so well to kind of explain how that mind-body connection really works together. So start noticing things that turn you on. I don't mean sexually. I mean, it can be. But I'm just saying, like a storm, a song, a scent, a touch. These are clues for you to begin to like follow a breadcrumb trail and to see, like, what have you been denying yourself? What have you not done because it wasn't productive, or because someone, like, unfortunately, what they said to you, Amy, that you were obsessive about something? Where have the gates come up where people have tried to get in the way of what you were passionate about? And what have you shut down as a result of that? See the thing you're afraid to say. I mean, like Nicole, I love her fire, and that's what she said. Just no, just no. And we're back to what Esther Perel said: make space for mystery. So even if you're just saying what you're afraid to say out loud to yourself, give yourself permission to say it. Don't restrict anything. It is not a prognosis. It is not a sentence. So just to kind of wrap up here, passion can be fulfilling, exhilarating, life-giving, and sometimes it seems scary. And just a little tidbit to ponder: get to know you. Again, start paying attention to how you react to things, to people. You don't have to like everybody. Everybody doesn't have to like you. One of the greatest things my mentor said was, you can be the sweetest peach on the tree. Some people just don't like peaches. What do you make that mean about you? You've gotten to a management position and you're crying. What is that telling you, girlfriend? Give yourself permission. I think that may be my last slide. Oh, I did want to say, go ahead.
No, no, no. I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah, keep going.
Oh, I forgot I added this. So on my website, you can run your chart for free. Run your chart, and when you get it, instead of shutting your computer, if you want to send it to me and say, okay, what is this? I'd be happy to give you some basics on where that goes. This was a little bit about the alchemy room. As I said when we first started, we are pivoting on some things in order to make it even more accessible, even more adaptable, even more personal for each woman that's interested in joining. So we're going to be sharing all the details. We're going to come back again next week, and we're going to talk about purpose. And then we're going to come back again the week after that. And then Nicole is coming to Paris. And that is,
Yay.
yay, we're going to get
Yay.
together and actually record in Paris some of the modules for the alchemy room. So I'm super excited about that. And we'll have a bonus, a surprise there. We'll probably do a live from Paris, but we'll probably just walk you on the streets and let you go with us somewhere, or sit in a cafe or something fun like that. And we'll be back. And this is a slide from last time. It's like, so if anything resonated, and I'll let Nicole, yeah, go ahead. This was your line. I absolutely loved it.
Oh yeah. No, we go together like peanut butter and chocolate is what I keep saying. You know, and as a therapist, I'm going to tell you guys, go run your HD chart. Go run your chart and get after it, because it's a cool tool. It is a really cool tool to use. Kim ran mine, and I've been going down the rabbit hole on it, and some of this stuff is there. I was like, okay, yeah, that hits. That definitely is me. It is some finer points, but then some even bigger points, like in relationships and things like that. I was kind of blown away. I liked it. And it is just like anything else, a perspective and a tool to use to understand yourself. And of course, all of the self-help, shelf-help, all of the different theories out there, all of the different gurus, Esther Perel and Brene Brown, and all of those. I bring that piece of all this. The slide before, the one thing about passion being scary, the one thing that came to my mind right there was vulnerability. And that's a Brene Brown thing. And so I was like, vulnerability, that's hard. That's very hard. So again, and we could do a whole other presentation on just that concept. So we've got a lot to bring here. We've just got a lot to bring. And we're super excited that you decided to join us. And I hope that you can be a part of what we're building in some form or fashion, even if it's just showing up on all these lives and stuff. We're going to have boatloads of materials, and I mean boatloads. So yeah, just put your seatbelt on and just hang with us, and we can take you basically anywhere you need to go. So yeah, that's our promise right there, and our hope. Or I get to go to Paris in August, and if nothing else, it's a really fun project. It's cute. I'm having a great time. So selfishly, it's working for me. So there we have it.
Yes,
Did
I'm
anybody
passionate about
have?
this.
Oh,
What?
I want. Did anybody put anything in the? If you've got questions, I don't know how much time we have left. What, 14 minutes or 10
Yeah,
minutes or something?
yeah.
If
We
anybody
actually
has, yeah.
budgeted, and thank you, Amy, for saying that. A vulnerable space to put your very soul out there in your music. Exactly. That is
Yes.
very vulnerable
Mm-hmm.
space. And yes,
Mm-hmm.
um, yes, and Brene Brown does talk. Yes, that's where she goes. That and shame. So yes, so
Yeah.
that. Thank you for sharing that, because that is it's an incredibly vulnerable position to sing your heart
Yeah,
out.
and if you have this shame thing going on, y'all, um, shame is like my wheelhouse. I can get after that like nobody's business. We'll definitely create some stuff for that because we can manage shame like boom. Um, there are some definite tools and techniques for that that are so, I hate to say simple and easy, but man, once you get them, oh, you leave shame in the rear view. And it is so nice. It is so nice to just be rid of that, right? Just to have that kind of handled and you can just finally put that away. There are some, great techniques and they're Brene Brown techniques for sure. But yeah, I love that. We will definitely conquer that in the work that Kim and I do. So I'm here for that.
I love the rearview mirror. That made me think of a Jody Messina song.
Oh yeah.
Rearview. Yeah, she has one in the rearview mirror. With my rearview mirror torn off, I'm not looking back. Not looking back is what.
Oh, that's cool. I like
Yeah,
that.
it's
Okay.
right. It
Yeah.
just suddenly
I don't
that
know
was
that.
perfect.
Very cool. Very
So
cool.
did anybody have any questions? Was there anything that you wanted to ask that we didn't answer? Shame is a drain for sure. Yes, Joanna.
Yeah.
Shame. And yes, that's a fun one for me too. We
Yeah.
actually did one of my programs I did a book club on Brene Brown's book, Gifts of Imperfection. So we actually went through that a lot and
Hmm.
familiar, very familiar.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Good deal. Well, our next for our little fan club here, our next live is gonna be, wait, I'll send up my microphone. Our next live is gonna be on July 2nd. And then it was July. Holy moly, what is happening to this year? Um, so put that down on your calendars like right now and we will be here for that in same time, yep, as far as I know, because Tim is in France and I'm in Florida, so this is the only time that we can figure out to
And
make work.
Donna's in Italy and Joanna is in California and Amy, I'm not sure.
Awesome. Amy's in North Carolina, I think, although she may be in California or somewhere else at the moment because I think she was traveling, so um
I'm definitely
yeah,
looking forward to listening to her song. So
she's so talented. And oh, she's in Houston right now. Okay. Um, yeah, Amy's insane because not insane, insane in a good way. She'll just pop up on a live. She actually makes it work. I don't know how she does it, but she sets it up at her piano and then she'll like start playing and talking and playing and doing the things. Sometimes she sings. I'm like, not even can't. The whole thought of that just makes me get 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 so anxious. But yeah, she puts it out there like nobody's business. I love that she does that. So y'all go back and look at Amy's stuff. She's amazing, very talented. So all that to say, all that to say. Anybody else have any questions, concerns? Oh, Galveston. Oh, that's cool. Yay. Oh well. We'll figure out this whole tech thing. It's figure outable. We'll get a handle on it at some point.
yeah, at some point.
So
Hey, I'm feeling really good. Last time we did it, like we got 2 seconds on the Facebook Live and went
yeah,
So thank you, Chantel, for being here and running this.
absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful rest of the day and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Yay. Hard hands.